Hi, Gregg Perry here in my conservation studio. Working on a mid-18th century, maybe the second quarter of the 18th century, a porter's chair from Paris. Porter's chairs were often in some of the grand hotels, suppose the Boulevard de Rivoli across from the Louvre Museum. And this is one of them. It's a survivor. This is original leather. The chair would have been out front in an alcove, actually in the front of the building. And it would have kept the porter warm and out of the rain, even though it was sitting under an overhang, so the leather would not get destroyed, but it kept him warm, and it kind of expelled luxury to the hotel to see the porter actually encased in all this beautiful leather. Well, the leather's not so beautiful anymore. It's been a couple hundred years plus, and it's had the ravages of time take its toll on it, and probably other environmental factors. So what's happening is the leather's totally dried out. What's happened to it, the leather is fractured from drying out excessively. Micro fractures, huge fractures, fissures, tears. Actually, the 18th century upholstery job inside in certain areas has actually come unhinged. The actual thread that's holding this together has dry rotted. So you've had a lot of major rips, as you can see down here. This is a very, very bad repair. I won't even call it a repair. This is going to come off, and you know we're gonna fissure and join in another piece of leather, old leather, in there to cover the hole up. What we don't want to get into here is redoing certain parts with new leather. We have existing grain patterns we want to maintain. So the first step of operations of maybe a few videos here, as I sit here. Mixing up a proprietary type consolidating ointment, as we'll call it. It's going to do two things. It's a very flexible type adhesive, this ointment. It's going to penetrate on a very small molecular level into the fissures. It's going to bind it. It's going to hold the leather together, hold the leather to some of the existing substrate of the upholstery underneath, but be very flexible. So if you were to sit in this chair afterward, this is dry here, it's going to flex without ripping. So it's going to give great strength to the existing leather surface. Two ways to apply this, what I found, a lot of this is trial and error, because there's not a lot of this going on in the whole world of conservation of leather, is to take a bit of your spatula. This is a modeling spatula for painters, and just put it on and try and fill the gaps. And I found the best way, actually, it may look sloppy to you, but I'm actually wiping it, crossing over any bridges or gaps. And in certain areas, literally taking some on the tip of your finger, very minute amount. And if we can find something up here, here's a void, and just working it in the void, need a little bit more. You can use your spatula to try and pull over, and then literally just smooth around the existing. Okay, this is based a mixture that I've done on a PVA, making it almost a consistency of like a fluff type marshmallow, so it makes it very utilizable. I'm also using a PVA derivative, which is somewhat of a common white glue, just to go over the small fissures that you can barely see. So when we're done, the entire encasement of the inside, the entire piece is going to have a hint of white, meaning that I'm not usually the filler, or I'm using the PVA to get into the very, very small fissures. So that's it right now. We'll continue filling and doing some repairs. When we get down to our larger repairs, needing a cut, a piece of old leather, then we'll pick up with another video. Thanks.